Hello and welcome back to this video series. We're setting up Centrify multi-factor authentication for Unix Linux systems joined with Centrify Express. In the previous video, we actually installed and registered a cloud connector. I went back to Cloud Manager. If I refresh now on my screen, what you'll see is that now I can see a cloud connector, right? So what this means is that effectively this machine can provide the services that it can do. And if I look at an overview, notice that I have you know 80 proxy, app gateway, LDAP proxy, and radius. You can actually disable the services that you're not going to need. In this case, we basically need the 80 proxy. So in my particular case, I'm going to leave it as is, and I'm going to go and now we need to authorize the machines that are going to be doing multi-factor. We can do this in roles. So there's two things we need to do. We need to add the machines that are going to be authorized to process multi-factor requests on behalf of users, and we need to provide them with rights. So I'm going to create a role. I'm going to call it step up machines, right? And the members, there's several strategies that I can use, and I'm going to launch here Active Directory use and computers. So the computer objects exist here. I could actually manually add each machine as members. So I could just go here and click computers, and then I can do AWS dash I think that's my naming convention, and it's going to find my machines, right? So but I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be clever about it, and I created a role called MFA computers. And what I've done is that I added the computers inside that. So if I'm doing DevOps, all I need to make sure is that the machines that get added to that group as well. So I'm going to add, I'm just going to do MFA, and here's my MFA computers group, so I don't have to go back here again. And I'm going to add an administrative right to these machines, and it's only the right to perform server login and privilege elevation. That's it. So now the machines have the ability through the cloud connector to broker multi-factor authentication request on behalf of the user. The last thing I need to do is I need to set up an authentication profile, and you need to plan for this because authentication profiles define what are the methods that are going to be used in the different contexts for multi-factor. So I'm going to create one that is going to be called for Express, so server access express. And when the user is logging in, by SSH is going to ask them for their password, right? So I don't want to ask for a password again. So I can use mobile authenticator. That means that the user has to have a Centrify mobile device registered with the system. I can have a phone call. That means that the user needs to have a phone call populated on the GAL in Active Directory. I can do an SMS. That means that the user has to have a mobile number populated in the GAL. I can do an email confirmation. That also means that the user has to have an email address populated. And I can use an Auth OTP. That means that if the user has registered their Google Authenticator, Free OTP, Duo, YubiKey, they can use those clients as well. I'm going to show you with Google Authenticator, and you're going to see how the user gets onboarded with that. So in that, now with the authentication profile set up, I can. The last step I need to do is I need to tell Identity Service what are the profiles that are going to be used for this. So for server authentication, basically I'm going to do server access with Express. In this case, because you're using Express, privilege elevation doesn't apply. I'm just going to be consistent. I'm going to add it here too. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and press save. And to recap, we set up a cloud connector. We authorized the machines by creating a role and adding the machines to that. We used it an AD group to nest. We provided that role with the privilege elevation and server access privilege, and then we created an authentication profile for the methods that we're going to enable. In the next video, we're going to configure the parameters and hopefully we can do some testing.